We all gather here for the launch of an app that POWA has developed in conjunction with the Department of Social Development. The good news is it looks like we're going to be getting the Minister, Bathabile Dlamini, onto the program. We've just seen her delegation arrive, so she should be arriving any minute. And as soon as she does, we'll get to have a conversation with her. But we're talking about abuse of women. We generally are talking about anything that has to do with the abuse of human rights. Now, joining me here to talk a little bit more is Steve Letsike, who is the director at Access Chapter 2. Steve, it's good to see you. Welcome to Morning Live again.
Thank you. Good morning, and to the viewers.
Yeah, I mean, we gathered here, obviously, to launch an app, which is a fantastic development in the fight against abuse and to try and help women that are in these situations. I mean, what do you make of this?
I think it's a very important innovation. We have to find ways to reach women whichever possible way, because sometimes what we know is that there are so much underreported cases because of how far the police station is and because there aren't a lot of prevention measures put in place. What we want to see is that we should not just address one segment of women. We want all women to be addressed, all women in their diversity, including lesbian, including transgender or bisexual women. And this initiative speaks to all of us.
I mean, the abuse of women is obviously highlighted because it's Women's Month, but it is something that is with us 365 days a year, and it seems to be getting worse. What aren't we doing? What more do we need to do?
We are reactive. Gender-based violence in this country is very prevalent. It's a big problem. We have to address social issues. We need to get to the nitty-gritties of it. What we know, it costs this country 15 billion annually if at all we don't respond to gender-based violence. Now, if we don't prevent it, that's how much we're going to lose. That means our economy, it's not going to be healthy in any time soon. So what we're not doing right is because we speak a lot, but we're not acting. We want to see action and challenging the perpetrators who are abusing women out there. They must be arrested in time. They must be also facing the music, which means justice is not served adequately.
I mean, I'm going to get your opinions on a very high-profile case, because as much as we look at cases, and they all have to be treated equally, but when you have a government minister, our deputy minister, Manana, who is... It's there. The evidence is there. There is a video. There are confessions. There are eyewitnesses that the abuse did take place. And yet he's still in his position. You know, this leads us to question, are we leading by example? What do we need to do to make South Africans know they can't do this, because you will then have to face the law and it's unacceptable?
You see, Leanne, I think the most important thing, there can be no reason to justify violence in any way. That's number one. For me, if you have any high profile or no profile whatsoever, you must face the music. For me, accountability is key, and in our country, we lack accountability. Whether you are a high minister or whether you are a low man in the ground whatsoever, if you abuse, it's a constitutional issue where every person who's a perpetrator must face the music. There shouldn't be any special treatment in any way. And unfortunately, we have a deputy minister, we have quite a lot of people who are perpetrators and who are not arrested. So for me, it's arrest, but it's also justice. The women are violated every day. And out of 9 women, 1 only gets to report the case. And unfortunately in this case, the woman who reported here, it's only 1. And it doesn't mean that this one reaches the level of conviction. Here we are watching this case to saying, let the government, law enforcement take its course in this case. But accountability is key. We can't have people thinking that they're going to extend force on any human being. And we are really looking at our country to account, and in this case we want that. Grace Mugabe is the second one. This just happened recently. Why is Grace not arrested? So we really must be accountable as a country, or else we are failing our own citizens.
Absolutely. And then just on a final closing note, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned the Grace Mugabe issue, because this is something that we're all seeing and looking on in horror. But what affects me even more than that is to see the younger generation, almost mimicking what they're seeing all over the place. We have incidences of a schoolboy kicking another fellow pupil in the head until her nose bleeds, and we see this, and this is the next generation, which makes us believe it's not going anywhere, it's just getting worse.
I think a lot has to do with social ills. If we don't address gender-based violence, we don't address social norms in our own communities, we are not going to address these issues at all. I think a lot of NGOs, a lot of government departments are doing so much, but we need to do more. There's no time to go back because we're going to fall complacent of the issue. So for me, it's very crucial we address issues of sexuality, we address issues of patriarchy, of power and so forth, but everyone must be addressed in this case, and we must reach them while they are young. Let's go to schools. Let's not think it's only about mathematics and science in school. It's about life orientation. It's about confronting the social ills. It's about ensuring that people understand their sexual reproductive health and rights, and it's very crucial that we educate and empower ourselves and account at the end.
Steve, thank you. Thanks very much for talking to us. Enjoy the launch of this app, a positive development in the fight against the abuse of women here in South Africa. We're going to hand over to the Johannesburg studio, but when you do come back to us, we're hoping to be in conversation with Minister Bathabile Dlamini. Stay tuned.